All right, well, we're live, and I caught Mike doing the humming.
Damn it.
I knew I'd get him.
Mike was humming Another One Bites the Dust.
I knew I would get him. I knew it. All right, so this is episode 8 of the Where Were We Pod.
Yes,
Currently, we actually have a special guest tonight. So
Hello.
This is akaFeathers all the way down on the left. We got
That's
Seaside
me.
Mike in the mid, and Mocha AF over here on the right.
That's hilarious because everyone's order is completely changed on mine.
I mean, no, I'm just doing it. What, like, if you're actually gonna watch this on Twitch or YouTube, like I'm showing like the order that gets displayed.
Fair.
So you know, but yes, we have our boy akaFeathers.
Yep. Long-time fan of the show, avid listener.
We're just
There he
goon
is.
squadding it up.
Yeah, from the blast from the past, man. It's been too long, boys.
Indeed, it has.
has.
Indeed, it has. But yeah, you want to start with our first topic?
Yo, Seaside, take us on
Yes.
there.
Okay. Let's
go.
get started. So I'm sure a lot of people have seen this already. But there's an atrocity going on in the video game world as it comes to the Sonic movie and what Sonic looked like.
Oh,
Oh, man.
oh, boys,
So have you guys seen this?
I've certainly seen this.
definitely seen it. It is fucked up.
Man, I was unhappy.
It is so fucked up.
A couple
What are
of...
What are
I
your
was going
thoughts?
to say, like,
What are your thoughts?
a couple of like circles of friends I'm in several discords, like sharing the picture like the first day that the trailer came out or whatever, and I saw him and I was like, is it like
Is this real life?
yeah.
That's what I said. Is
that,
this
like-
real life?
Was this what the artist came up with? Like,
Because
The
they
teeth.
did it wrong. They did it
The
wrong.
teeth.
Oh my
the
gosh.
teeth were disgusting. I like Jim Carrey as Eggman, but
Okay, that's fine and all, but
yeah, that was okay.
yeah,
but the actual
I do like my
character-
Eggman a little plump.
Okay, so the thing that I had the most issue with, I guess, is like it wasn't even true to the normal shape of the character. Like,
Yeah, he's like 6'11".
yeah, he's like insanely tall and skinny, and like his face looks like he just got hit by like 3 shovels and a bag of dicks or something like that.
It's like
I don't know.
I don't know why it's like so mashed into like the middle of his head.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like squished up. It looks like he actually got hit in the face with a shovel.
Yeah, and
Ugh.
that whole thing made me started to think about like how spoiled we are as comic book fans because other mediums don't get good movies. Clearly,
They really
Yeah.
don't. They really don't.
I mean, just to in the same vein, the Mario movies from the '90s, awful.
Barf.
What a
Awful.
callback.
Barf.
What a terrible, awful looking
Oh my
atrocity.
god, those were awful. Those were
Yeah.
so bad.
Even the later Mortal Kombat movies, the first one's okay. The ones after that were like, all right, this is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
You know, like even like I don't think it's actually a sin to probably mention this, but like the live action Dragon Ball movies.
That was disgusting.
Come
That
on,
was,
bruh.
That was
I
disgusting.
said it was a
Don't
sin. I said it was a
place your
sin.
heart.
I you know, I had to pull it out there because you know, this is gross.
That's another thing too. Like anime always gets the shaft. Like Hollywood always tries to make anime movies, and they always
They
turn
just
out
can't
awful.
do it.
Yeah, it
made-
just never works.
It's never worked out. Like, and it's not like it's any more fantastical than the comic book movies.
No,
It's just
exactly.
someone just fucks it up.
I think I know why it's so hard to do things like that, because like a lot of the times they either, like the video game in this case, like it has its own storyline, like it has its own like objectives, things that you need to do.
Mhm.
So it's like to make Sonic into a movie is like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, come
and
on.
It also comes that like Sonic is like a pretty straightforward game if we're talking like classic Sonic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, like move your way across the map, collect the rings.
Mm-hmm.
and then like
Finished on the
kill
other
some
side,
bad guys. That's
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
like you
which
end.
is which is crazy because you know what else? I just saw Detective Pikachu.
Oh, you
Now
Okay.
that I
saw it.
think about it, yeah, and now that I think about it, that was a really good movie, and it's in the same vein. It's not based off any story from the
But they didn't change like the way the Pokemon's features looked. Like
well, except for Lickitung. Lickitung was disgusting. Look at
okay, I mean I haven't seen the movie, but I like based
yeah,
off the
I
previews and
recommend it.
stuff, like, you know, they kept true to a lot of the I mean the anatomy of the different
Hmm.
characters. Like
Mhm.
that's what I think a lot of people had such an issue with Sonic was it was like the anatomy was just way off
Yeah,
Yeah.
comparatively to like the Detective Pikachu things that people had seen at the time.
yeah, absolutely.
Um but I think that like I'm okay with doing a Sonic movie. Like
Mhm.
I don't think that that's what I was getting at when I'm saying about like the having a legit storyline or stuff already as a basis. I just mean like if you were going to try and do a Legend of Zelda movie, right?
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah,
It would be awesome if it was done right, but fans
yeah,
already have a predetermined this is what the storyline is, this is how it goes. If you fuck it up at all,
Oh
yeah,
man,
you are
that would
going
be.
down.
Yeah, it would
yeah,
rain
yeah.
fire if you fucked up a Legend of Zelda movie. I'm pretty
That's
That
sure.
would,
probably why
yeah.
no one's done it, is because they're
Yeah,
like, I don't want to be the guy who ruins that. Because they'll pick some
agreed.
bullshit. They'll be like, let's do the Wind Waker movie. And everybody will be like, really? Really? You went with that as the
You
first
picked the Wind
one?
Waker.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
even Ocarina of Time. Like, you didn't even go for the like good one. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, just another video game one that I thought was kind of good, just so that we counterbalance the negative with at least they've done it. They've shown the ability to at least do something adequate. The what was it?
Warcraft movie.
The Warcraft movie,
That one was
yes.
really good. I
Yeah,
Warcraft
yeah.
really
movie was
liked it.
good if you understood what was happening.
That's true.
I
That's
went
Well,
with
true.
I went with people who were new to the Warcraft universe, and I tried my best to.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I went with you when we
Yeah, you
saw
were there. You were there
it.
with me. I
I
remember.
watched that with my wife, and I had like we saw it in the theater, which was awesome,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and she had no real idea as to what was going on, but even she thought it was like a really good, like really well done. The storyline didn't have too many like severe plot holes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, and she was ready for a sequel just as much as I was, so I thought that was cool. It didn't like have to appeal to Warcraft nerds like myself.
Yeah, the most I knew about Warcraft was Hearthstone. So I just came into it from a story perspective, and I enjoyed it, and
It
the
was.
effects were good, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, like the special effects, the CGI, everything using that. Like
Yes.
you could tell Blizzard put some dollars into that, which showed. It was good.
Which yeah, it showed, and also like I would sign my ass up for any Blizzard movie just based off of their cinematic trailers that they make for their
Hmm.
games.
They
Like
do
they
make
do
some good
so
trailers.
well. They should just do that shit on the side, like make live action movies just because.
Uh
I
huh.
mean, they could.
Not
Agreed.
even they don't even have to do it live action. I would watch an Overwatch movie,
I
100%.
I would
All
watch their cinematic movies for sure.
yeah. All
Yeah.
the Overwatch cinematics are very, very well done. I remember like whenever one would be announced coming out like a week in advance, I'd always look
Hmm.
forward to watching it and
Yeah.
just see which hero they went with and like what happened in just like that short like 3 minute stint. It was always
Yeah.
excellently done.
Yes.
I loved the Hanzo and Genji one.
Mm,
That one
Oh
always
yeah.
I
stuck in
was
my
like the
head.
76 one.
The thing that
Oh,
always
yeah.
like sticks with me is like all their World of Warcraft like expansions usually come with a cinematic trailer. And those are all
Hmm.
always breathtaking. They're just so well done. The music, the scenes, the visuals that they put in. I mean, it's just like you can't touch them. They're amazing.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and that's been like that for almost as long as I can remember. They've always put a lot of really good cinematic work into their stuff. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. First Warcraft game I played was Warcraft 3, and I remember I was very young. Well, not like very young, probably like 10, 11, something in there. And
Mm.
I remember watching the cinematic, and I was like, "Is this like real? Like,
Yeah, no,
this
like
looks really crazy. Like,
it's real good. And then you get into the game, and then you got those shit graphics, and you're like,
hell yeah, dude.
whoa, oh baby.
Hell yeah. That was one of the things I thought was a flaw of the Warcraft movie itself. I don't think they should have done the Warcraft 2 story. I think they should have started with modern Warcraft 3 entering the World of
Yeah,
Warcraft time era.
that would be fine. But
Like I don't think the Warcraft 2 story resonated with enough people. Or I don't think it like cuz most people's modern day interpretation of the Warcraft universe is what you get from WoW or Hearthstone, those characters. And none of them are featured in or were very rarely featured in the Warcraft movie except for like Gul'dan and like Medivh.
Yeah, they did a lot of Medivh, and I thought that even the actor who played Khadgar was like really good, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, everything felt like really cool, but I just want an Arthas movie, honestly.
Yeah, that would have been one of the best
I
Warcraft
just want
stories.
the Lich King. Like that's really what I want to see, live action, like perfectly done. I would love to see a Lich King movie.
That would probably be my number 2. I would say the Illidan movie.
Ooh, Illidan would be cool.
1. Yeah.
Illidan would be sick. I mean, you could do a lot of
you could do any of the characters, honestly.
They have so many good ones. Even like I would probably even be hyped about like an Anduin movie. Honestly,
yeah, that's very recent storytelling.
That is
that's
very recent, but I would
past
still be
2 expansions.
super hype about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all cool.
That'd be dope. I mean, we're seeing that there is a possibility for Hollywood to get it right. It's just that so often they get it wrong.
But that's the thing is like I feel like it would take a lot of bad writing to screw up something that's already pretty much given to you, for lack of a better term. Like, it's not like the Legend of Zelda movie or the Warcraft movies that we're talking about here would not have an overall storyline already built in. It's just a matter of how you make the characters and how you write them, like, honestly.
Yeah. Great writing is always something that we take for granted.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
There's definitely like certain things that writers do that is transferred over across several mediums, which I think would bring us to our next topic, which is cliches and common tropes in media.
Cliches.
So, and I don't like, not all cliches are bad. So I wanted to ask the both of you, what are some of the tropes and the cliches and storytelling and character building settings and stuff like that, that you guys love, and what are some of the ones that you guys hate?
You want to go first, or me, Mocha?
You can go. You can take it.
Okay. Well, one of the ones that actually jumped out at me recently, and this isn't like popular, media or whatnot, but so I recently I'm in the process of watching My Hero Academia, the anime, right?
Great.
And that juxtaposes really well with an anime I used to always watch, Dragon Ball Z, 2 very popular ones over here in America. And so the main character and his rival remind me very much of Goku and Vegeta, which is very like you are friends, quote unquote, not even really friends, but like your acquaintances when you're young, and then you like grow into this like hardcore sort of rivalry. Yeah. And so I noticed that, and I was like, when I was watching My Hero, I was like, this is exactly like Dragon Ball Z, in that same way. But I liked that though. I think that's a good trope or a good cliche to have.
I do like that, even in like something even completely not even combat in that way. Pokemon, Ash and Gary.
Yep, same thing.
Yeah, the rivalries. They're always hype.
You need a good rival.
It always starts the same. Like your acquaintances or your friends when you're children, and like you have this like flashback moment, and like that kind of stuff exists. I like that though. I think it works well. It makes for good storytelling.
Now I gotta say, that can also be very poorly done And I think when it's poorly done, it is really poorly done. Like, I don't like when that flashback moment is like a setup moment. Like
Yeah.
one friend had their back turned or something like that, and then the other one got framed somehow, and then like that's how the rivalry begins, because you already know how it's gonna come back together. They're gonna turn on the one person who fucked the relationship over eventually, right? And I think that is just super dumb. It's so fucking dumb. It's so hard to watch because I'm like, not only do I already know like what's gonna happen, they're just gonna turn on this fucker, but then I'm like, you're so stupid. Like, you're friends. Just work this shit out. Like, just work it out, please.
Yeah.
You could be
Yeah.
better than this. Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah, I like when it's more like oh man, like the rivalries that are really good in my opinion are the ones that never actually get solved. Like, they just stay rivals forever after they're like, I just love that shit. I love when you have a true villain, you have a true bad guy, and they just never come back together. Like, they were friends once and then they're like, fuck you, never again. I love
I mean,
it.
what? That's like Doctor Strange and who's the guy who played you know who I'm talking about in the movie in this
Yeah,
MCU.
the one who they're setting up to be the next bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck, what is his name?
He's supposed. I think is he Count Modo? I forget his name.
Oh well.
But yeah.
But that's the concept that we're in at.
Come on, boys. We're coming off the Endgame pod, and
Dude,
this is how we
Look,
go
man,
into
I
it.
know. I feel like my nerd card should be revoked. I'm already.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
He's
Whatever.
he's playing like a pretty popular character too. That like a
Yeah.
pretty popular villain. I just forget his name completely. But that's
That's the general concept that we're getting.
yeah.
Here.
I know exactly what you mean.
The other.
So
well, I
Go
was about
ahead.
to say the other type of cliche that I like genuinely hate with like a cold-blooded passion is I hate the love at first sight like cliche that you get
Are
in
you
a lot
kidding
of
me?
movies.
That's literally your life. Get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
What I mean
The
is
personal attack.
it's
Get
like,
out of town.
it makes me feel like an asshole. It's like, is that what I was really like?
No,
No,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I just don't like how they do it in the movies because it's never done like a real life scenario. Like, it feels too forced, too fake. You know what I mean? Like the perfect music's playing, all that good. Like that's not how it fucking happens. I met Kayla in a dorm room. Somebody introduced me, and then I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Love
I was
at
like,
first
I was like, whoa. But then it was like, it just, went from there. We were friends for a while first.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. They meme it up a little too much, in my opinion, in the movies.
That's fair. Even with that, I like when they present a cliche and you think you know how it's gonna go, and they completely juxtapose the what you think is gonna happen. Like, it's love at first sight, but it turns out, look, the person who loves you is a fucking psychopath.
A psychopath. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But the reason why I started to think about this is because there's a lot of tropes in like a lot of the stuff I watch, and some of them I hate, some of them I love. Like right now, the big trope in anime is isekai, which means in another world, which roughly translates to in another world. So that generally the anime starts off, this person is alive in our world. Something happens to them, they die, they wake up in a fantasy RPG world. And that's literally how, like, there's been like
That's like
30
their
Yeah.
That's the
like
meme.
there's like no world building or anything. Like,
Exactly.
It's
It's just
I
boom.
guess I'm
now,
here now.
now I'm in this video game world, and I've played this video game before.
I
I
guess
know how
I
it
live
goes.
here.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm isekai trash. I love it. I love it. I love all of them almost. But then there's always the like David versus Goliath. So it's always the good guy always has to be the underdog. Sometimes I like the good guy to just be like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna convince me Superman's an underdog ever.
Well, you didn't like
Yeah,
it when
that's
Captain
true.
Marvel was not an underdog.
Well, no, it's not even about her not being an underdog. It's just she's overpowered and she hasn't earned it.
She is overpowered, but
She
that's how
did
she
kinda-
is, though.
I mean, you just get one Lightspeed engine to blow up on you, and
That's
All of a
it,
sudden,
man.
you're
That's it.
overpowered.
That's it. I'm busted.
It's better than being a god living amongst men.
Yeah, but like,
you're invincible. The only thing that can kill you is kryptonite, which doesn't fucking exist on Earth. Seems good.
it doesn't exist, but someone always has it.
Yeah,
Someone
how the
always-
hell
Somebody
does that
always- somebody
happen?
always manages to have that
always
on
has that shit.
Well, I'll
You
tell you
know-
what, Batman keeps that shit on his belt at all times because he knows that guy. As soon as Clark says, "You know what? Today is the day."
All right, so I'm gonna reference something right here. Do you guys remember like the Amanda show and like Drake and Josh and
I
stuff
do.
like that?
Yeah.
I think at one point they had like an all that or so, it was like one of those fucking shows where they're all together and they had like they had like a kryptonite type episode except for it was like a lactose intolerant thing. Like the villain was like lactose intolerant. They just like threw cheese at him and poured milk on him and he like fucking died. It's like what? Like why do people just carry around milk cartons? Like what the hell?
horrible super weakness.
I always think about that
Very.
whenever we talk about kryptonite. I don't know why, but I just think about that shit. Anyway, where were we? I'm sorry. That was
even
that-
kryptonite? Even kryptonite being a trope. But yeah, go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say if we weren't gonna continue on this, I was gonna say what you said before about like David and Goliath, like
Yeah.
rooting for like not like even the OP person. This just real quick harken back to Endgame. I just wanted to say that Thanos sounds so like calm and logical when he's talking shit. Like I kind of wanted him to win. Like
Yeah.
a little bit of me.
I wanted it though.
He did.
Like he
did
might
make
be the
sense.
big bad, but I was like, damn, like Thanos, like you really might be onto something here, bro. Like,
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I love those type of villains. The villains that make sense.
and
Yeah.
They're not just like
talked about
villains.
that.
Yeah.
I know you did. I just wanted to.
But because like it makes sense. Like the sympathetic villain like Thanos is like you really understand where he's coming from, and you're like, God, that actually sounds
Nope.
somewhat reasonable, and like he doesn't feel like he's wrong. Like he just doesn't
Yeah.
see anything wrong with it.
To him, he's the hero, and we're the villains, and everyone else.
That's true.
It's like,
Yeah.
and you're kind of like, damn, I suck. I'm a little selfish right now. I should
Yeah.
kill half the population. Let's
Yeah.
go, baby. Sign me up. Thanos forever.
Well, yeah, and we like we're all like, well, me more so probably. I'm like, how many times have we seen like Rey Mysterio in WWE versus like the Big Show?
Big
or
Show and he
Great Khali?
Yeah,
fucking
exactly,
wins.
exactly.
It's like,
Ugh.
or Daniel Bryan versus these people. It's
Like, you know, they
little
did the same
guys
thing.
gotta Beat up the big guy.
Anybody booked against Braun recently, that kind of thing. Like, oh, he's so huge. What's
Yeah.
person Y gonna do?
What's
like,
this little
exactly.
scrappy bitch gonna do? And then they're like, I can scissor kick your motherfucking head.
yeah,
Damn, got him. Like you just
Yeah.
like what the hell? Rey Mysterio used to do the 619, right? That was where he like went in between the ropes and
Yeah.
like kicked people in the head, and like he like knocked the Big Show out doing that. Like his fucking teeny legs clunk the Big Show's head, who's like his head's bigger than Rey Mysterio is, and then like, oh, that's supposed to knock him out. Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah, and then there's the two other ones that I was thinking about. That are,
Actually,
like,
wait, you know where the WWE actually proved that shit wrong? When they had Brock Lesnar go up against the one-legged guy, and they just had Brock Lesnar kick his ass.
I did not
That's
see
fair,
that match.
yeah.
I think that was before my time.
That was
That was,
before your time, but that was one time where David did not beat Goliath.
David did not beat
Brock
Goliath
Lesnar just shit on him.
Brock Lesnar just picked him up and threw him around,
He took
as he does now.
He
Actually,
took him by the one leg and threw that against the side of the ring. That was
Oh,
so
man.
fucked
Man,
up. dude.
WWE, they do not care.
They do not
Man,
care. They do
what a
not
time.
care. Oh man.
yeah. Before we get to the next topics, the two other tropes that I was like really thinking about was like the post-apocalyptic and then time travel. So there's always in the Chosen One. Oh, he's the
Oh, the
chosen
chosen,
one.
the
Chosen
chosen
one.
one. Yeah, that's a good
Chosen,
one.
I'm chosen. You guys
It's
remember
like,
that Kung Pao? Did you guys ever see Kung Pao? Oh, chosen,
I
oh,
don't
chosen.
remember.
Oh
It's
my
been
god,
some
it was
years,
the
yeah.
dude who had a little face on his tongue, and then he would feed it noodles and shit.
No, I don't
Oh my
remember
god,
that.
you
I was gonna
gotta.
say you're ringing zero bells for
You
me.
Yeah.
guys literally have to, it was such a meme movie. It was, I don't know, it was fucked up. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Who cares? Let's go. Keep going.
You're not dumb, but I like the chosen one trope. That was a good one to bring up.
The chosen
Yeah.
one.
The
Oh, man.
like even in Game of Thrones, the Azari, the chosen son, the one who the Lord of Light will bring, and then there's the there's always a chosen
Star
one.
Wars.
Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Anakin, you were the chosen one. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So there's always those tropes, and the Avatar, even Goku's probably the legendary Super Saiyan. The he it's there's always something.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
fair. That's fair.
One show we hope that doesn't have a lot of tropes in it is this new Kanye West show called Omniverse, who Jaden Smith will be playing as Kanye West in an alternate reality.
I was gonna say I read that and I kind of like shrugged my shoulders at it. Like
Just like
that was like
Yeah.
I read that exact sentence when I was looking into this and like
Yeah.
like
yeah.
all right.
Reading
I was
up
like,
on it was
okay.
like, I guess. I
Like
don't
is it
know.
gonna be Kanye West like living life or Kanye West like writing music or like Kanye West like
Dude,
battling supervillains
I
or like
hope-
We
what's
don't know.
I
think
hope it is Kanye West battling supervillains. Oh
he
my
like
god.
if this is just alternate reality, like it could be anything. Like
Oh,
exactly.
shit.
It's yeah, exactly. It could be anything, and it's
Oh.
it's an anthology series, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. I have no fucking clue, man.
Seth Rogen is directing the first episode called Singularity.
Oh, so
that'll be
you
interesting.
know that it's gonna be memey and funny and meh.
I'm sure it'll have. I'm sure it's not going to be like like every episode won't be the same. Like maybe there will be a horror episode. Maybe there will be.
yeah, that's kind of the vibe I was getting.
That's what I'm
I don't
thinking.
know how I feel about it yet. I feel like I'm gonna at least give it a try, but
It's on Showtime. I mean, hopefully Showtime isn't. I mean, and it's Kanye, and I don't know how I feel about Kanye's about Kanye doing other stuff, but his mind is usually good or creative. I just don't know.
That's what I was gonna say. Like
he
the
has a-
creativity.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So he is extremely creative, right? But like I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to be able to channel that creativity properly.
Like, okay, think about like Donald Glover with Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
That was a good show in my opinion.
Haven't seen season 2. Season 1 was hilarious.
Season 1 was really good. Season 2 was also, pretty good in my opinion. So, I mean, like, in my head, I'll probably end up comparing this to that. Like,
Well, they're not.
creativity-wise, I mean. Like, I just want to
I
see
really
how
doubt that they're the
creative
same
it
type of
is.
show.
Well, I don't
But,
think they
yeah.
will be either. But I mean, like, from a creative mind, right? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious as to how it's going to go.
Yeah. I think Donald is more traditionally creative than Kanye as well. In terms of, I don't quite think Kanye's like, have you ever seen Elon Musk talk?
Seen what?
Elon Musk like have a conversation.
Oh,
Like you ever
yeah,
seen
yeah,
him,
yeah.
like him on like he's like, you can tell he's really, really smart, but he's not like all the way with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Elon Musk,
Like-
baby.
Yeah, and that's how I picture Kanye West. Like he's like really, really like creative, but I don't think that he's like all the way. Like he doesn't think the same way anyone else does.
And you
it's
don't-
kind of-
How he interviews is a lot like I feel like it's him trying to explain in layman's terms everything that he's thinking about,
Mhm.
and that's just hard to fucking do sometimes. Like when you're thinking extremely creatively, like you probably sound like an idiot or an asshole whenever you're trying to explain yourself to other people. I feel like that probably happens to him all the time. Like
Yeah,
all
hopefully
the time.
hopefully he has someone there who can like filter his ideas and can like
Yeah,
guide him. That's
He's
what I'm
just sort of-
hoping for.
translate it into the show
Yeah.
somehow.
So
They,
yeah,
they need good writers.
Yeah.
They need good
But-
writers.
The other side of this talking point is Jaden Smith,
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
who I like Jaden Smith. You know,
I like him a lot.
he's gotten, you know, his weird side showed in the media a little bit. His more
Mhm.
outstanding, you know. But in terms of being an artist, I have absolutely no problems with Jaden Smith at all. I enjoy his work,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you know,
he's good.
I think he could
loved
do
his
justice
first
to
album.
Kanye West.
Loved his first album.
Yeah.
Saw him on the show on Netflix. I forget what the name of it was, but he did a really good job portraying his character. Yeah, it'll be awesome to see. He's a dope guy. He's definitely one of those guys that's in the vein of Kanye and Donald Glover in terms of being multi-talented.
I think like when I first read about this, I did not have any problems with Jaden Smith portraying like that was not my issue with it at all, right? So like I'm not worried about. I think he'll handle it very well. I mean, he's extremely talented. Like,
yeah. Are we gonna get that Will Smith cameo in the show though?
Ooh, that would be so hype.
Will Smith playing Kanye West's dad.
He just comes up, wake up, Mr.
And dude,
West.
it's an alternate universe.
It
I
is
mean,
an
like
alternate
anything could happen.
Anything could go.
Yeah.
We could see iRobot Part 2.
Shit, we could.
A robot mixed with I Am Legend.
Oh God,
Yeah.
be rough.
Well, yeah. We'll keep an eye on that and move on to the next thing. I guess we want to talk about. You want to tell us about Borderlands 3? There, aka Feathers.
Oh man, there's too much going on in the world to talk about Borderlands 3. Like what? Like there's good news and bad news and like ugly news. Like if we're starting from like,
Let's start with the
like-
announcement. Could you tell us about the announcement for it?
so like Borderlands is announced and everybody's like, Gearbox, the people who are making Borderlands, have been completely silent for years in terms of like a Borderlands 3, because Borderlands 2 is a very phenomenal game. It did what it needed to do very well. It scratched that looter shooter itch for a lot of people, and that was like 8 years ago. I forget actually the exact time it came out, but like long ass time ago.
It's been a
And
while.
Weren't
completely
there
silent.
some like games in between, like Telltale games version?
yeah, Telltale games. If you guys are familiar with Telltale games, those aren't really like I guess they are games kind of.
But they're more so stories. Or
It's like it's like a choose your own adventure, but like
yeah.
all roads lead you to the same point, so it's kind of not.
Okay. Huh.
But yeah, so those were there, and they involved some of the characters and like kind of advanced the story a little bit, like introduced some new people. But in terms of like a looter shooter game, ever since the pre-sequel came out, which wasn't made by Gearbox, it was made by Gearbox Australia, or 2K Australia, sorry.
Mhm.
They've been completely silent. And so they teased it like 2 weeks out and then finally announced it. So the community was very happy about that. But there's also like a dark side to the announcement.
Just wait till it loses 98% of its player base in 3 months. That's
There's
always
two
fun.
games. There's two games you could be referencing right now, so I'm not sure which you're going for.
I'm referencing Artifact.
Oh, you could also be referencing Anthem. So
Oh, shit! I totally forgot about it.
like that's the other one that recently happened. So
Oh yeah, that was a big oof.
yeah, and I was really excited for Anthem too, but it's in the dumpster now. So
Yep.
there it goes.
Yeah.
Till
Hey, man,
BioWare
feels-
gets their head out of their ass.
Feels bad, man. Tell Valve
Yeah.
to get their heads out of their ass too.
Bro, you can't. Valve. You cannot communicate with them. They don't-
Yeah, that's right. Except for apparently the Dota people can.
Dota's what's making the money.
Dota
That's
is
true.
what makes it.
That's fact.
Yeah.
Did you guys, well, real quick, speaking of Dota and how the community kind of communicated with them, they gave a lot of feedback about wanting to avoid players. So in the TI Battle Pass that just recently got pushed out, you can now avoid players, and it actually puts them in a list that bans them from being on your team.
Huh.
But you can play against them.
You can play against them, but you cannot
Okay.
play on the same team as them. So
Okay.
Kind of cool.
that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah,
That
'cause
is
if
really
I, like,
cool.
If I report someone, I don't ever want to play with them again.
Like I've
Exactly.
reported people and then played with them in the next 2 games, depending at like what time I'm queuing. And it genuinely sucks when they're just like, well, I fucking hate you and I'm going to run down mid and feed and we are going to lose 3 games in a row. Bye
Hey.
MMR. But
My
anyway.
MMR feels great.
Feels great, man. Anyway,
God.
back to Borderlands. Sorry.
Well, I don't even know what talking point I was going off of.
Oh,
But-
the bad side of the release.
Oh, the bad side of the
potential.
announcement. Okay, so they announced that the game is coming to like all major consoles and PC, obviously. The PC launch, where I think a large number of people will be playing, is going to come out, and when it's released, it will be exclusively on the Epic Games launcher for 6 months, and which is a big issue for a lot of people.
Barf.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
that's
barf. Oh
Yeah,
my
so
god.
obviously Epic
Yeah.
dropped those big dollars to get.
That's one of the
game.
things that we talked about in on one of our earlier pods. The ongoing struggle between Valve and Epic Store now.
Which, and
Yeah.
also how bad of a fucking launcher Epic's launcher is.
It's literally the worst.
It is so trash. Have you used the Discord launcher? It's better than the Epic launcher. My god.
I've never launched a game from Discord, but I see the options.
Yeah,
So,
I've done it. It works so much better than Epic's. That's half the reason I don't play Fortnite. It just doesn't fucking look.
exactly. It's just
Epic is like,
oh.
well, we make Fortnite, so like we don't have to like improve our launcher.
Yeah, we don't
exactly.
have to- we don't have to
I
care.
honestly think they have a mindset like that. They're like,
Yeah.
we have Fortnite going for us. Like
Well, did you
that's
see
never
what-
gonna stop.
Did you see what they did to the Fortnite esports? They
No.
like
Enlighten me.
they like release patches that fuck the game up, like like the day before a tournament. And
That's
and
kind of
then-
fire though.
No,
but, like,
Yeah.
like they like put
wish they
in
did that for
broken,
Dota.
unbalanced guns like the day
Oh.
before a tournament, and then they're just like, yeah, I don't know, figure it out. You're pros, like fuck you. like, dude, the pro community like fucking freaked out about
Oh,
that.
I bet it's like Fortnite, so I can only assume that the pro community is also like very toxic,
14-year-olds
like
and
very toxic,
15-year-olds,
you know.
Yeah.
And like are all on like Monster and Rockstar energy drinks.
No,
Just
they're
going ham.
they're the ones drinking those amps. They drink
Oh,
the
the
Mountain
amps.
Dew ones, the amps.
I will say,
God.
my short tenure that I had with Fortnite in like the very first season, the Battle Royale came out when it started getting popular, and I actually played it for a little bit. I had fun.
I did not.
I
hated
liked
Fortnite.
winning. It had its fun moments, but then eventually I got to the point where I was just like, no, I've had my fill.
Yeah,
But did
and
you
I
guys-
felt the same
Did
way.
you guys play like as a squad, or did you try playing by yourself first?
We played together a bit.
Yeah, we
Okay.
played together some.
See, that was probably why it was fun. Because I'll tell you what, I played solo. Bullshit. Fucking worst experience I've ever had playing a game. I was
This is
like,
coming from.
yeah, no, like seriously, this was awful. And I gotta tell you, I wanted to give it an honest try. Okay, I was like, you know what, I give battle royales so much shit because I think that they're dumb anyway. But whatever, I'll give it a try. So I launch it up. I played 5 games. I only found a weapon in 2 of them. And the moment that I found the weapon in the one game, like I think it was my 3rd game, I finally found a weapon. I ran over it and it didn't pick it up. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, cause I was picking up wood and shit that I was smacking around, and it, like you just run over it and it like picks it up for you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, guns have to work the same way. It doesn't. So I'm standing there looking at the fucking ground because there's no tutorial to tell you how to fucking play the game. And then it's like, oh, press E. And I look down at the keyboard to press E. I hit the button, and then somebody smacks me in the face with an axe until I die. That was so I just found a gun. I died. The second time I found a gun was the 5th time I played. I pick up this gun. I don't know how I accidentally fucking dropped it or something, because the other person picked it up and shot me in the face and then taunted over my dead body. I uninstalled the game right after that. I was like, fuck this. No more.
But Mocha, how would you feel if I told you to get good?
No, buddy. Look, man, I don't care what anybody says. Those games fucking suck. Battle Royales are awful. They are 30 minutes of your time wasted just
30 minutes.
Yeah.
You last 30 minutes?
Yeah, I did. I lasted 30 fucking minutes in all of these games and I didn't find a gun. I was just in random places, just sitting around like, where am I?
I will
Oh,
say that
God.
is not how you're supposed to play the game. I don't think.
No, I didn't want to go die. I didn't have a gun. I was like, oh God, it's like 10 minutes in. I don't have a weapon still. I guess I'll sit in this corner for a little bit. And then the map starts shrinking. And then I was like, oh shit, the blue wall's coming at me. So I would like run around and just like find trees to sit beside. And then like, I would cut down the tree and I was like, fuck, I just gave away my position. I run to the next tree. And then it was like, I just like got killed and lost the game. I don't know.
Fortnite.
Dumb shit.
So
But I don't know. Fuck those games.
Harkening way back, the Epic Games launcher though,
Oof.
riddled with people able to crack it, get your information. There was a breach, where people like lost usernames and passwords.
Is that what happened? Because I definitely had my shit stolen, and someone from Bosnia tried to.
You were privy to this, like it
Yeah.
happened to you.
Yeah. Is that what happened? I was wondering how that happened. Someone from Bosnia
It's
tried to buy $200 worth of Fortnite shit on my.
like it's very like the
Damn.
security sucks on it versus other launchers.
Yeah.
And apparently their customer support is like non-existent from what I gather. I've never.
Why would they have to have customer support? They're talking to 10-year-olds. Who fucking
Yeah.
cares?
Like
Tell
so
your
that's
mommy to call us, you dumbass.
that's what people are upset about with the. So it's on there for 6 months. If you want to play on PC, you got to play it on there
Ugh.
for 6 months until people are speculating it's going to come to Steam because that's where you play the other Borderlands games now.
Yeah, that's trash. That's
where you launch them from. And there's like the other thing that kind of pisses me off is that if I do buy in and play on the Epic Games launcher, that's just another fucking launcher I have to manage.
Yeah.
I currently use
Right?
Steam, Blizzard, Origin, Uplay, and then Epic. That's 5 game launchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I use.
No one wants that. Just get this shit on Steam.
Yeah, that's
put
what
it
I'm
on
saying.
Steam.
Like,
just put it on Steam.
And I get like game developers who aren't indie should not be putting their shit on Epic. Because
No.
the only reason for a game developer to want to put their shit on Epic is because Epic will give you more percentage. But if you're making if you're making more money, like you should not be putting your shit on Epic. Put it on
I would
Steam.
agree. Like even if Epic will give them a bigger cut to put the game on their launcher, I would rather buy the game. This is just me personally. I would rather buy the game for like $70 on Steam as opposed to $60 on Epic, and just have that convenience and peace of mind. I would definitely do that. That would be worth it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Like
Yeah, I can
that's
see that for
just
a lot of
just like a matter of like convenience though to me, because I don't want to support Epic Games and their launcher, really, to be honest with you. But
Well, yeah, because it's genuinely shit, and they're not doing anything to address it.
exactly.
And like, and it's a big problem to have. Like, it's not like it would be one thing if they were like not listening to the community about some bullshit thing, but like this is like how people interact with your games on a daily basis. You want to make that first experience like good enough that you're gonna keep people around. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
For sure. But that's the I mean, there's many controversies that are going into the Borderlands 3 launch. Any massive game is going to have its fair share of awesome news and controversy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just one of the big ones that stuck out to me, is that it's going to be on the Epic Games launcher. That pissed me off. So I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. No,
That's
no
fine,
problem.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You're the Borderlands expert. I mean, that's what.
I was just,
absolutely.
I wanted to
Why
kind of
you're on
ask.
here.
I kind of wanted to ask if you guys have what your thoughts or opinions from the outside looking in on the Borderlands series is. If any of you have played it.
I've played it for a little bit. I've like back in the day, but I haven't. That was before I was really back into gaming. I'd love to play it again. I wouldn't know where to start. Like like you said before, there's the prequel, sequel,
Pre-sequel.
the pre-sequel, and then there's the Telltale collection.
Mm-hmm.
So I would need like a guide of how to play these games.
I got them. If you guys want to play them, we can do it. We can make it happen.
I have never played any of them. I mean, I'm just not a big shooter game player at all. Like,
Gotcha.
really? So I mean, like
we had that stint in Overwatch. Don't
no,
play.
I mean, I'm not like, it's not that I don't like them. It's just that like I can't play them for hours on end without needing to play something else or like a break from them.
I get
what
that.
I mean? Like
I get that.
I could not play Overwatch 10 days in a row without like
I don't know
shooting
how you can
myself
play
in the
that.
face.
How you can do that with any game. Honestly, me.
Oh, I
personally.
can do it with a lot of games.
I know you can do it with like I don't
can
know
do
like
it with Dota. I can do it with
like,
Artifact. I
yeah.
can do it with Magic. I don't know.
I'm at the point with Dota where it's just like once every blue moon.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that a lot of that is just because, like we've talked about on this show many times before, is like you're more into the storytelling games these days, and
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, it's fine. Everybody has their own
love
thing.
me a good story.
Like Feathers over here, he plays a lot of fucking shooters.
I do.
A lot of shooters.
You play,
I do like the shooters.
You play with Destiny.
That's my big one.
Destiny, Anthem.
I think I saw you on Apex, right?
Apex,
Division.
Yeah.
Do I have anything else in my recently played? No, those are the big ones right now. Mostly keeping on my radar Destiny and Division 2 right now. Waiting for Borderlands 3.
Gotcha.
I'm just I'm basic trash. I just finished Uncharted 4. I'm playing, and then Devil May Cry 5.
There you go.
I'm about to play Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
There you go.
That's the other one that I need to get on, honestly.
Have you ever played a Souls game before?
I have.
Dark Souls?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been a while, but I have.
Like, those games are like designed to be difficult.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just finding the fucking time to be able to play this.
Yeah, From Software. It's calling card.
Like, you have to understand that going into the game. Like, it's designed to be difficult, and then you read these reviews of people with Sekiro, and they're like, the game is like almost too hard for normal people, and it's like, that's the point of the game.
Yeah,
like
that's the fucking
developers
point.
did that on purpose. Like,
yeah,
it's not supposed to be a walk in the park. I'll tell you what game I really wanted to give a try, but I wanted friends to play it with because I feel like, this is like a game that you need friends. Atlas. I heard that was kind of cool.
I've never heard of it.
It's like, so it's on Steam. It's like a pirate survival MMO.
Oh! I've seen this game.
Isn't it? Are you sure it's Atlas or it's Sea of Thieves?
Atlas.
Atlas is like kind of God, how do I put it? I would say it's
Sea of
more.
Thieves looks hilarious.
I would say Atlas is more like, I don't want to call it like Minecrafty, but it's like open world, build your shit.
Yeah.
Go. There's like, you're like on a server. It's like Rust or like Ark or like a game like
on
that.
A server.
Okay.
You do shit like that. And like, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be kind of fun, but like, it's $30, which I'm like, fuck that. I don't really want to pay that. B, it has a lot of negative reviews on Steam. And C, I don't have anybody who I think would join in and play with me. And I feel like it's a game that you need to have friends to play with you as well, or else you're just going to be miserable as shit. I don't know. I heard something about people hating it because you're like riding around on your pirate ship and then some big ass pirate ship will come over and just like blow you off the water and like fuck you up and like take all your shit, and then you're just like, well, I guess I gotta start building a new ship.
Yeah, that's how games like that work though. Like
I guess I gotta build a new ship, guys. So you like always want backup or like need other people around. So I don't know. It's like I'd have to have a fucking pirate crew, and I don't know if I could assemble a pirate crew.
It's the Badlands out there, man.
Yeah.
It's the Wild West.
Just to something funny. We were talking about Sekiro. I just remembered there was this part. I haven't played it yet, but I know there's this part that's really like been tripping a lot of people up where you fight the ogre. There's an ogre type character.
Okay.
and someone modded Sekiro Shadows Die Twice so that Shrek. It's
Oh,
hilarious.
that's awesome.
It's hilarious.
Did you guys
You
see
guys can guess.
the meme of the dog show where they put Shrek in it?
Oh yeah. He's or he's like running and he like
sprinting
rolls and
around.
goes to. Yeah. I saw that.
Dude, that shit had me cracking up. I couldn't stop laughing at that shit. It was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
I love me a good meme.
memes and dreams. Speaking of memes, our favorite meme on this show is Drew hates
Oh,
VR.
we're fucking talking about. I thought we would talk about enough shit that we didn't have to get into VR.
VR.
Okay.
I have one VR experience under my belt, and it was actually kind of fun, even though it was bad. I
Did
played
you
the
fall
game.
over?
No.
Oh well, then it wasn't funny enough.
I stood in one place and I played Beat Saber. That was the game I played.
Okay, that was the one I was
Okay.
telling Mike looked pretty dope. Was Beat Saber. I thought
Beat Saber's
that
cool,
looked
but like I'm real bad at it. Well, obviously, like I can play Guitar Hero on expert, but like Beat Saber's like a whole nother.
it's all,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I mean, how often do you swing lightsabers around, John?
Yeah,
Like, what the
exactly.
fuck?
So, but Beat Saber was cool. It is a VR game, but you don't have to move. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that VR games are just still. I don't know. Everybody's like, VR is the future. Fuck that.
It is the future, and that's
not.
why I'm keeping an eye on it. And there's a market for it. So here, I'll get
for
into
extremely rich people, that's where the market is. Steam
Drew,
fucking selling $1,000 thing.
Yeah, how much money have you spent at Steam? Get out of town.
No. Okay, I've spent a lot of money on things I give a shit about. I wouldn't drop $1,000 to fucking put on a headset.
Hey, some people give a shit about them.
Yeah, those people are dumb and rich. That's what they are, dumb and rich.
So here, just so the listeners know what we're talking about. So Facebook announced a new Oculus Rift, the Oculus Rift S will release on the 21st. And Valve also announced the top VR set, which cost $1,000, which apparently...
Isn't it called the Index?
Yeah, the Valve
right?
Index. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's already sold out. So there's a market. I mean, I don't know how many they sold, but they sold out already, and it's $1,000.
Okay, so the one VR thing that I've seen from Valve was displayed at one of the internationals. It was a full VR viewing experience of a Dota game.
And that's where I was going to go. And that would be awesome.
That looked cool based off of the things that I saw of it, but I feel like, you know, for me personally, I
would get back into Dota if I could be Axe and like literally crack down on someone.
But you can't play the game. You're only watching it. You're only viewing it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm saying if they eventually develop a way for you to actually, to be able to go up and hit creeps. Or go up and
would be
to
fucking
actually
cool, but that's
awesome.
Still ways away. Like that is.
I don't know how much.
Away.
I think if Valve really wanted to make it happen today, it would happen today.
You still got people fucking falling over because they're trying to climb up mountains and shit on VR. You mean to tell me you're gonna put somebody in their house on like a little treadmill thing to let them fucking run around in circles?
Let them go up fucking mid, dude.
That shit was on Shark Tank. That was on Shark Tank. Have you guys ever seen that show?
Yeah, of course I've seen Shark Tank.
Okay, so there was one episode of Shark Tank where they had a full VR like bodysuit, a gun that you ran around with, a headset, and you were on a little treadmill that would spin around in a circle. So you were on this treadmill that constantly rotated and you could like run around. The one dude who was like one of the investors almost fucking fell over. They were like, this product is a hazard waiting to happen. Like, you're going to get dizzy, you're going to get lost in this VR world, and you're going to fucking break everything, and then you're out 20K.
That's just some random jabroni. Ice Frog, if Ice Frog wanted to dump resources into this... It wasn't a random
jabroni. They fucking dumped hundreds of thousands of dollars into developing this prototype. And
jabroni dollars.
Okay, whatever.
Let me tell you this. I'm imagining I'm in the middle lane, right?
And you're,
I need to farm I need my bottle.
You,
Boots.
aka Feathers, playing mid? Fuck that.
I
You are gonna be Crystal Maiden sitting behind somebody, just
Hey,
like,
I have a game.
can I last hit, please?
I have a game that very apparent in my memory where I was CM 1v1 mid against a Bat Rider.
Oh
I
my
cooked
God.
his shit.
1v1 against the Bat Rider.
I cooked this Bat Rider.
Oh, that's
But anyway,
hilarious.
Mike, so you're middle. You're in the middle lane, and you're wearing your VR headset, and you're farming creeps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting last hits. You need your boots and your bottle, and and all of a sudden, a vengeful spirit rolls up and ganks your
Oh
ass.
my god.
What do you do with the VR headset on, dude? Like,
That's a good question.
No, but to that
But
light,
can you
to
imagine?
that
These
light,
are
you
funny
get
problems.
hooked. You get hooked by a punch. And all of a sudden, you're like on the other side of the fucking river, and you're like turning your head, and then you get dizzy and you fall over, and then your character falls and you die.
They can figure something out. It's just hilarious. It's just hilarious to think about.
How would you feel if you're okay? So let's say you're TPing home because you're very low from a team fight. Okay, you're sitting in Fountain and you're just like looking around. You're like, oh, look at those pretty trees, and then you get hit in the fucking face with an AA ice blast and you break and you fucking die. You get to watch this big ice cream cone ball come flying at your head, and then you're trying to duck, and then you smack your head on the fucking pole that's holding the green screen next to you. Like, come on.
Like I think your head is a little too far in the clouds on this one.
Oh man,
No, that's
it would
from
be
a
cool
viewing perspective, like what they demoed already, like actually just watching and spectating a game, it was pretty cool because you could like jump on the map and then you could pick a spot on the map, you could put yourself into the trees, whatever, hang out and watch it, but that would just be so hard to fucking navigate to a level where you could understand anything that's going on in a game. It would just be too slow. You'd miss half the team fights. Like, Pro Dota is way too fast.
That's true.
For you to be able to VR your way through that.
Well, you create a custom game mode where it's like everyone in your game mode has VR, so it's not unfair.
The VR only league.
Yeah,
That would
you could do something.
fucking suck.
Man, it'd be amazing.
No,
Like you can never see ganks coming because you can only see in
Exactly.
front of you.
It's
Like,
hilarious.
that would suck. That would be awful.
No. Well, you'd put I don't know. There's no you could put like maybe like a side screen. I don't know how you could do it.
Like
But
think
I'm
of
not Ice
how
Frog.
think of how like okay. And think of how infuriating it would be to play against like Ricky. Like the hero that goes behind you constantly
And
as
is
part of his
invisible.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
He just starts stabbing you. You just see your health bar dying, and you're like looking around, and then you look down because he's like a fucking 3-foot toddler that's invisible, stabbing you in the back, and then you're like, oh wait, I'm dead. That would.
I
suck.
guess.
That would
You
suck.
guys- way to ruin my dreams, guys.
No
Mike,
worries.
you
Just-
get scared when somebody blinks on you when they're on your team, let alone if an enemy Sven blinks on you and throws a stun out in VR. You'd be like, you would actually shit your pants, and then you'd be like, oh, now I broke my $10,000 VR system because I just shit on it.
That's probably how it go.
That's how it would go. I have a question. I have a question for back in the Dota 2 days.
Oh, boy.
This question specifically for Mike's side.
Oh, okay.
What is a scarier noise? Faceless Void jumping or Phantom Assassin throwing a dagger?
Oh my god, that's a good question.
What's a scarier noise,
Oh
dude?
man. Oh man.
Jesus.
Oh man.
There is a right answer, I think.
Oh god, I don't know if there is. Both of those are horrifying.
Both of
and,
those
like,
are
burned into my
horrible.
memory.
Because both
Yeah,
of you
I
played
don't
support, so both of
Exactly.
those things are burned into your memory.
Like
I
the
don't know.
sound of
Phantom
time walk-
Assassin can just casually just like probably one shot me at a certain point by just throwing a dagger
Yeah.
and just crit the dagger and just like that's it for me.
It's like for me, once I know that dagger's in the air, like I know I'm about to be way too slow to possibly get away from this person.
Yeah.
So I'm basically dead.
yeah.
But Time Walk, on the other hand, is just its own horrifying beast.
Yeah.
So
I gotta say, the other sound that honestly throws me off every time I hear it is Clockwork's hook. When you
Oh.
hear that hook shot from like
When
a
you hear
mile away, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Fuck, I'm stunned."
When you miss it and you have to reel it back in, and then you laugh at the clockwork.
Oh man.
Me playing clockwork 24/7.
Never lucky.
The other sound that's also pretty intimidating is you let me run through a scenario, right? It's
Alright.
like 20 minutes into the game and you're like, "Okay, I think it's time that we group up and we 5-man guys." And then you're like, "Hey, the enemy team has an Earthshaker. I wonder if he has," and then he blinks on you because he has it.
It's like the first time you've even considered it.
Yeah, and then you're like, I don't know if he has it yet. And then you all die.
Yep, and then you're 10 billion gold behind, and
Yeah.
you lose the game because they have somebody AFK ricing woods, and then
Yeah.
that's it. It's over.
All
Well, it's
because
like,
you heard that one blink sound, the poof.
You're out doing something and you see no one's on the map and you're like, oh, they're doing Roshan, and then Roshan has fallen.
Yeah, that happened a lot
Roshan
too.
has
You're like,
fallen
are they
to the dire.
you're just like looking around. You're like, are they roshing? And then like
Oh my god, man.
the dark times.
Or like
Yeah.
when you see that there's nobody on the map and you're like, they might be smoked up, and then all of a sudden you walk down a hill and then they're all 5 just sitting there waiting for you.
Whoa.
There's, oh
Staring
shit,
back
guys,
at
I
you.
found them.
Point you.
I found them.
Just force staff yourself onto the nearest cliff and just
Oh
try
my
to TP
God.
away.
Yeah, that shit's crazy. Speaking of Dota, so like I said earlier in this podcast, the Battle Pass just recently got released, and it's already up to over $11 million contributed,
Yikes.
and that happened in like the first, I think, week, like 6 days or something like that,
What?
which is ridiculous.
People are just throwing
Video
money
gamers
around.
out here with money, man.
But
Yeah.
they got Earthshaker Arcanas in it. So that's one of the
So-
big things.
Earthshaker Arcana. It's another support hero.
Earthshaker Arcana, they also got like a an axe immortal where he doesn't have an axe.
What does he have?
His fists.
Oh,
He just lost his axe.
My immersion is broken.
Yeah, he just I wonder if his voice lines change from like Axe's
Axe's
axe
fist.
to Axe's fist. I don't know. The other big thing is a new persona for Invoker where it's a
Can't
baby
be-
Invoker.
huh.
My
Can't be throwing
my
that Persona
immersion.
word around. That's that Persona 5.
I can deal with any kind of hoo-ha cosmetics because I lived through the era where Ursa could wear a cowboy hat
Oh my god.
and gallivant around the map. I was there
Just
for
wearing
that,
a
so
cowboy hat.
I was
Shit
there.
was like the most expensive set forever.
Yeah, because they removed it. They said this is dumb. We're getting
This
rid
is
of
dumb. We're getting rid of it. $1,000.
What?
There you go, boys. It's $1,000. People
Old
would
Town
spend
Roads.
$1,000 on that. I guess they'll buy your fucking stupid VR headset.
Yeah, that's true. I
Seems
mean,
good.
spend $1,000 on like a bunch of dumb shit. Like
Why buy a
Hearthstone
fake
packs.
cowboy hat when we can buy a real fake cowboy hat? I don't know, a fucking VR hat. Ugh, man.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll for the last thing. If anyone else have any closing topics on the VR headset before we get to the last
No,
thing?
let's fucking end the VR talk, please.
Okay.
Get this shit out of here.
That's my favorite meme. Mocha hates VR.
Mocha hates VR.
So there was a lot of talk. I forgot to mention it on here some podcasts ago, but the company or the video game studio Slightly Mad, they made it some of the older racing games, and I guess they're more bigger. They're more bigger. They're bigger in other countries than they are in the US. They were coming out with this new gaming system called the Mad Box. But as of the announcement of the Stadia system, it seems like their investors have pulled out, and Slightly Mad have pulled their copyright. But it was supposed to be something of a console competing with like how powerful PCs are, but it seems like with how ambitious the project was and the announcement of the Google Stadia that this system has been pretty much canceled.
Hmm.
So I wanted to ask: is there room for any new PC wise or console wise, and what kind of innovations do you want to talk about? And I assume at some point we're gonna talk about the Google Stadia and like what it can do, because that's some pretty revolutionary stuff if they can actually
Well,
get it off the ground.
why don't you explain Stadia for viewers or listeners who have not heard of it yet?
Okay, absolutely. The Google Stadia is Google's video game streaming service that's going to be launching later this year. So it's able to do a lot of things. One of the things you can do is you can load it up onto your Google Chrome browser anywhere. So that means you can play any game on your phone, on your laptop, on your MacBooks, your TV, your smart TVs, hopefully. Um, but you can even do things like you start a game on your PC, you turn it off, and you play it on your phone, and you just pick up exactly where you left off. Um, it doesn't require you to install anything. It doesn't require you to purchase an actual console. It's all streaming. The way they have it set up, they have it
It's like
all
cloud
through.
based, right?
Yes,
Like
it's
cloud
cloud
based
based, but it's
streaming.
all through Google's system. So the latency problems seem to be non-existent. So it's not reliant on public internet. It's all based through Google's system. Um,
Yeah.
you should be able to connect to with it through any USB controller that you already have. Also, Google has a proprietary controller created, which has its own internet in it, which also I think is the purpose of it is to decrease latency. There's 100 gaming studios signed on so far. We already know Doom Eternal and Assassin's Creed games are going to be playable on this. There's also I think it's called Stadia Entertainment, which is their own first party studio, which is going to be making exclusive Stadia games.
See,
So yeah, what
that's.
do you?
I mean, I think it's a really cool concept. I can't wait to try it out
Yeah,
because I feel like that's gonna be something that is either really really crisp and clean or it's gonna have a lot of problems out the gate.
yeah,
I don't know how you would stress test something like that. Like
that's
like really stress test it.
yeah. And the way I understood it, it's the way I understood it, it's like it's never it's never going to be based off public internet. It's all going to be through Google's system, and it's apparently predictable how it will act. So there won't be many problems. But then again, anything could happen, and we don't, like you said, how do you stress test that? Really?
Yeah, I mean like let's say you have several million or 100 million people playing games simultaneously on this. How
Mm-hmm.
can you mimic something like that in a test environment to see if it could even handle it?
Yeah.
Um, I, what
The
if?
only the only solution I could think to that would be you just have to have a beta. You just have to have an alpha or a beta
Yeah,
test.
I think that
Yeah.
that's like pretty imperative. I would love to hear something like that announced, and maybe try and even get my hands in there. Cause
Yeah.
let's be real,
My
I
thing is that
think.
it sounds too ambitious to
it is
me.
very
That
ambitious.
the way you described it, it sounds like I don't see how that could be done currently.
Mhm.
But like, okay, no, like the idea is there that I can like play anything I want in my Google Chrome browser.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
like that idea is there. That idea is cool. I just have my doubts about like the
Me too. The internet, but that's
yeah.
what everyone's thoughts are. But apparently, the latency they've been testing it in terms of it's all run through the Google system. It's never going to, like I said, it's never going to be um, vulnerable to public internet.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think my stance is going to be I would love to be pleasantly surprised
Yes,
by it.
absolutely.
yeah.
That's
That's what I would love.
there's also some like creative things that they're doing with like if you're since Google owns YouTube Gmail and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they've added some features like, let's say you're stuck on a level, you press pause and you say to your controller, okay, how do I beat this? So it will be able to like stop the game and pull up like a side screen of like, here's a tutorial of how you beat this level, or here's a video of a YouTuber doing this, or here's a thing on Facebook, or here's a thing, like it'll Google it for you. There's also a way where let's say you're playing like a fighting game like Mortal Kombat, Scorpion Sub-Zero, and your health is at like a 5, and Sub-Zero has all his health still, and you manage to come back. You can pause it, make this moment public, and other people can come in and play it in exactly the same settings with 5 health and try to beat it too. And there's
See,
also
that's cool. That's a
Yeah.
cool idea with that scenario. That scenario idea.
Yeah, you can create your own scenarios and make them public, and people can play it exactly the way you play. But you can do it with like fighting. I chose a fighting game because that's simple. You can
Mhm.
do it with anything. Like let's say you play a game where you have a book bag and you have XYZ items, but you ran out of all those items, and you have to beat this boss in this game. You put the scenario and make it public. There's also games like let's say you're playing NBA 2K and you want to play with one of your fans and you're a YouTuber. You can go live and a fan can actually just like watch you live stream and join the game.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
Isn't that
is pretty
that's
cool.
nuts? You know what I mean? That's nuts to me.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, because since this is not hard drive based, this is like you're saving everything to a cloud, which you're doing. So basically, when you make that moment public, you just sort of take like a quote like snapshot save file of like the parameters of the game that you have now,
Exactly.
and then when anybody else wants to access that moment, they just load that file. You know, it's
Yeah, exactly.
you know that maybe it like switches their character or avatar or what have you around, but otherwise, so I
Yeah.
can see how that undertaking happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like you kind of said earlier, it's just extremely ambitious.
Absolutely.
It is
Yeah.
extremely
Super
ambitious.
super far
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah. And it's coming out later this year. Pretty surprising part.
Yeah, that's like
I'll
that's
wait to
kind
see.
of
I
the most
imagine it's
insane part, honestly.
it's going to
Yeah.
be pretty bare bones at launch. Like I feel like they're going to like it's going to be like a live service. It's going to develop over time.
Yeah.
But like when it comes out, it's like you can play these games in your browser like
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. I mean, they have 100 studios signed up already, which makes me think, I don't know how long they've been working on this, but I mean, it's had to have been
Mhm.
at least some time.
Well, I mean, and it is Google. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's another
that's
very
one
important
big thing that they got going for them. It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
so I forget who makes the Doom game. I guess like the modern Doom, quote unquote.
Mhm.
But if Assassin's Creed's in there, that means they have Ubisoft signed on to
Yep.
help out a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Are there any like innovations you guys do? There's new console in these pretty much Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft space?
I mean, I don't know. That's kind of tricky because, like, I prefer PC gaming over console gaming, anyway. So I mean, in my opinion, it's like just like as PCs get better, gaming can get better. Whereas, like I don't really give a shit about most consoles. Like being real honest, because most people really like portable right now. Like mobile games are starting to be hot, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So like when you're trying to compete to like the Nintendo Switch, right?
Mhm.
Where it can be like a console, but it can also be handheld. I've heard a lot of people like talk about how they love having the Switch for like airplanes and stuff like that. Like it's just
Yeah.
like a better version of what the PSP was supposed to be and stuff like that. So I mean, I don't know, like as far as innovations go, I would just like to see maybe like better ways to interact with mobile games. Like I think mobile games could be cooler if like you could have a controller and like
You
use
can.
like oh you can't, I didn't even fucking know
Yeah,
that.
you can plug in you have to get I actually have one. I have you have to get a convert regular USB to USB-C. It's like $2.
Oh shit.
And you just plug in your controller to your phone.
Well, that's pretty fucking hype. I didn't know you could do that. All right, well,
Yeah.
all right, problem solved. I guess I'm done for the day. That's all I really wanted to see, honestly. Let me plug my Guitar Hero controller into my phone and play Guitar Hero while I'm
That would
sitting
be
on a
kinda
bus.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
While you're sitting on a bus with your Guitar Hero
I'm just
controller.
sitting on a bus, like, no one can fucking sit next to me. I'm rocking out over here, you know. All the other passengers are just pissed because all they can hear is click, 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 click.
You're on the bus. It's like 7 a.m.
Oh,
People are going to
shit.
work. You're like playing through the fire and flames in like the middle of the bus.
You're doing like the tapping too, like making people like frustrated. Like, oh shit, not only is he playing Guitar Hero on a bus, but he's fucking raking over here.
He's killing it.
Oh my god, and then you plug in like the drum set and you're just sitting there fucking just going on the drums in the bus.
You're playing off a screen like this big, like the size of my like,
No, you just get the screen that you get the phone that attaches to the VR headset.
oh yeah, there
And
you
then
go.
you're just sitting on a bus fucking drumming to a VR headset. You look like a fucking idiot Daft Punk person. Like you're like Daft Punk's like dumb sister or whatever. You're just like
Dafter Punk.
Daft Punk.
Less Daft Punk.
Less Daft. Yeah, I like it.
I have opinions on the console PC thing.
Go for it.
Basically, I don't know. I don't think there's like, if you like, there's nothing you can really. I don't think an outside competitor could come in and innovate anything, and maybe that's just me thinking too small. But like, so every year, or not every year, but every cycle, we get a new console: PS5, Xbox, whatever, Nintendo, whatever. You know, Nintendo always wins people over by innovating their gimmick, like quote unquote.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
like it was the Wii, now it's the Switch.
Yeah.
And so like the Switch is obviously like a fantastic jump off point from between actually playing a console and actually having something you can take with you. They blended that perfectly, and that's why it's so popular, because it has the power to play Breath of the Wild, but
Yeah.
you can take it with you wherever you want to go. That's the beauty of it.
Mhm.
When you buy an Xbox or a PS4, you're basically buying a like a very affordable like computing unit. Like it's basically a computer, but it's a console. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
but
the
I
things-
mean it's basically a brick too. It just
It's a brick that plays games, which is what
well-
I use my computer to play games.
yeah, I mean
you know?
Yeah.
that's fair, but I mean it's like I don't know.
But I'm saying,
like
if
like
I'm saying,
laptops you can take around with you, like play games on the go, stuff like that too. I don't know.
like I want to play Bloodborne at like 4K. Like I can buy a PS4 and do that. But what I'm getting at is like the computer I have next to me is gonna like obviously outperform the PS4 or the Xbox. The reason it's just that like you can buy a PS4 and Xbox for $300-$400. You can't buy. You have to spend over $1,000 to have this computer. So that's why I'm saying like they basically function as like, you know, because you can obviously like watch YouTube, Amazon, all that kind of stuff on your PS4, Xbox,
That's true. That's true.
which you also do on your computer. That's just sort of how I see it.
Yeah. What you're really buying, what I think with a PS4 Xbox, is you're buying the exclusives, because some exclusives
Exactly.
PCs will never get. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like there's no reason to make well, nothing can really be PC exclusive, you know, like quote unquote.
Yeah,
A
that's
big
fair.
issue in the console war right now is that Microsoft Xbox like has no good exclusives, and PS4 has them all.
Like Halo. Because
Well,
Microsoft-
that's not really like a thing right now, because the studio that has Halo now is releasing the Master Chief Collection, which is a remastered version of all the Halo games, but it's on PC. You know, like it's going to be you can play Halo on PC.
Which
So-
I can't fucking wait for.
Me neither. I'm gonna be there. I'll be in
Okay,
beta.
so John, there will be one that you will definitely get me back on.
But it's
I-
a shooter.
I
Yeah, it's a
don't
shooter.
fucking care. I
love
love
Halo,
Halo.
yeah.
I will play
All right,
Halo
so
till
I'll
the
be
cows
in
come
on
home.
that.
Oh
I'll be
hell
there.
yeah!
But, like,
I'm
love
getting
Halo.
that for sure.
When I think PS4 exclusives, I think two big ones that I want to play but I can't because I don't have a PS4 are God of War and Bloodborne. Those are the two I really want to play and I can't.
There's so many great PS4. Like this is the era of PS4 has so many good exclusives. The Uncharted
Exactly.
series, like you said, Bloodborne, Days Gone, uh, God of War. So many good, just like PC or PS4 exclusive games that I'm just like, all right. When I got back into gaming, I just bought the Xbox and I was like, wow, all the games are on PS4.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
So I'm saying Microsoft is really losing out this cycle.
mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
at least in terms of the console war.
Yeah, and Nintendo also has like some really good exclusives that
Oh
you
yeah.
can't get on PC either.
And some people live and die by Nintendo.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's
Nintendo
my
has a
brother.
pretty dedicated fan base.
like
Yeah,
there's people that anytime anything Nintendo is made,
like
they're
on
gonna
top of
they're
it.
gonna
Yeah,
have to get it. Like it's just something that they have
Hell,
to
I
do.
bought the Switch and I barely fucking play it. I
You're
still
not out there
have it.
playing some Splatoon. Like
Like
I want to switch. Like I want to play Breath, and I want to play
yeah,
Super Mario. That looks really dope too.
Breath of the
Mhm.
Wild. I still haven't played yet. I really need to, but one of the big reasons I got it was just because like I don't know, it was like it's a fucking Nintendo product and I love Nintendo
Exactly.
and like, you know, I'm going to get it and I'm going to get games eventually like Breath of the Wild or the new Zelda games that they'll eventually come out with. I'm going to get like Smash and like the
Oh, and
Mario Party
Smash, yeah.
games.
Yeah, there you
I'm gonna
go.
get stuff like that and then
And I want to play. I'm
the
still into
Pokemon
like
games.
I would 100% still play the Pokemon games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I bought Let's Go
Hell
Eevee.
yeah.
I have that shit. Haven't
yeah.
played it yet, but I have it. I got
You
it.
got it though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. I
Got
haven't
it.
played it. It doesn't matter.
So like the question of is there room for anything else? Like, are you going to be able to make a system that plays games in a better way than PS4, Xbox? Are you going to be able to out innovate Nintendo? I think no. Like
Yeah.
on both fronts.
And
I-
if
You're
you're
just gonna come
going
in and
if you're
do.
going to try and compete with a computer, then I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
pretty fucking tough.
Yeah. I just in terms of innovations, not necessarily like someone like even if like Nintendo would start to do that or Microsoft or Sony. In terms like you pause a game and you see the characters that are on the screen and you're like, okay, this character, and it'll tell maybe something to the point where it'll tell you, okay, this is the voice actor who did this character. There's other games that are similar to this game or similar or to this voice actor did or stuff like that, you know, just like something small like that.
Yeah.
Something would be cool.
That would be cool actually.
Yeah. And that's another thing I was thinking about with like TV shows. If you like pause a TV show and or a streaming service and it'll tell you this is this actor. He was in this show and here this movie he was in and you know stuff like that. That'd be cool if a streaming service did that.
Yeah, I mean the instant gratification of getting information that you're curious about right away is pretty fucking dope. So
Yeah.
having that like incorporated in the streaming services and whatnot is, yeah, I mean that's a fucking stellar idea. It's just a matter of execution, right? Like
Yeah.
how is that interface and how does it really work and you know is it intuitive enough for the least tech savvy people out there all the way to the most tech savvy people. Like there's just a lot of factors that you know go into that kind of stuff. So
Yeah. And I guess are we ready to close out this conversation?
yeah.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up.
Okay. So last thing, Walmart also announced a TV streaming service and a service and apparently you don't have to pay money for the TV service at least, but they're selling your data most likely. Datagate.
Yeah.
So we'll just start. We'll do two things. Moko, two things.
Me two things. Oh god. Well, I'm gonna pick you for the two things.
All right.
Seaside. Better feature on a track.
On a track.
On a
Okay.
track, all right. Chance on ultralight beam,
Mm-hmm.
or oh shit, what was it? I wanted to do fuck, we'll just do better track overall. Ultralight beam or all we got.
No, I'd probably say ultralight beam.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
I would agree.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Do you want me to do two things? Anyone can answer. Penso
well, you
or
gotta pick somebody to answer.
I don't know, man.
No, pick. We'll just go around. I don't know.
Okay, Mocha. Penso or black beans?
Oh shit, that's actually tough. Pinto. I gotta go Pinto.
I'm gonna say black beans.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I have two good ones in my mind. All right. First one. This is open ended. Both y'all can answer. You got to choose flora or fauna.
Oh shit.
Fauna.
I guess I'll agree.
Fauna's winning out here.
Fauna. Yeah.
All right. Second one. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
That's easy. Too cold.
You would rather be too cold?
Yes.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I'd rather be too hot.
I think I would rather be too hot.
Guys are madmen.
No. All right, that's the show. Fuck you guys.
All right.